Clutching, you can power them up. If you're comfortable powering them up and trying to get the feel for balance point, if it's still new to you, do that. Do what you're comfortable with. I would recommend probably second gear. Probably, my speedometer doesn't even register, it's just 0, so I don't know how fast I go. This, I would probably go 30, maybe 40. Try to pull the clutch with 1 or 2 fingers. The whole hand will get you in trouble. If you pull it with your whole hand, you can do it when you're normal riding, but the advantage to clutching with just a couple fingers is you're going to pull it in just enough to let it slip and just let go. You should only be able to, with the slack that's in your clutch lever, you should only be able to pass a nickel in it. More than that, and you're having to pull it all the way to the bar. This way, if you can get in the habit of street riding like this, or 3 fingers, I would recommend 2. And if you eventually get an easier clutch, 1, because as soon as you let go of that clutch, your bike is coming up. You then have these 3 fingers to hold on, and these 2 are still on the clutch. Some people pull their hand back, some people leave it on the clutch. At this point, that doesn't really matter. Your rear brake, I know you hear this, cover the rear brake, cover the rear brake. Covering the rear brake doesn't do shit. Using the rear brake is what will save you. You cover the rear brake and you're going to cover it all the way to the point that you go over. I did it to myself on Kellogg. It was like, brake, 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 and I told myself in my brain to hit the brake, but I didn't know how. I'd never done it. So even if you're doing power wheelies, you're picking up speed, whatever, try, and if you're not near balance point or you've already come back down, try to tell yourself to push the rear brake, and you'll notice how quickly the bike will dive. Because basically what you're doing when you hit the rear brake is you're creating a fulcrum. Because the brake is going to stop this wheel, which is going to propel the bike this way. Because it wants to stop, but it's up here. So as soon as you hit the brake, it's going to come down. That's why they tell you rear brake, is because it'll always pull you back from wheeling. That's how I went down Douglas and I slowed down. Is I dip back, grab a little brake, dip back. Foot brake, hand brake, it's the same. But for now, when you're learning, when you get it up and you're going, when you want to come down, just try to make a conscious effort to hit the brake. That'll help you if you can feel it on your foot and you can feel what the bike does when you hit it. If something ever happens and you have it instilled in your brain and you just slip and you gave it too much gas or something,
it'll be good practice.
You can smash the brake and you'll come back down. How hard you smash it to discretion. I mean, I can tell you I've gone over the front of my bike more times with the rear brake than I have flipping stoppies. So it's kind of touchy. I mean, it will stop you, even though if it's, you know, the stock single piston, which I'm sure, yeah, it'll still stop you, trust me. But if you can get in the habit of when you want to come down or you're going to come down, just try to reach over there with your right foot and just push. You don't have to push it all the way down like you're coming to a panic stop and want to lock it up, but just try to feel it on the bottom of your foot and push on it. And one thing that I can tell you is if just riding around, if you can just get used to the feel of your rear brake, just use your brake, used to your clutch, just kind of, you know, you're cruising down the road at 40, pull in your clutch, and then let it back out with no gas, or have a little gas and let it back out, and just see how the bike responds, because it's going to do the same thing on one wheel. So as far as your fingers on the clutch or off the clutch, whatever you're comfortable doing, but I would always suggest the clutch. I used to hate it, I feared it so much, but it's so much more consistent and so much more reliable. It's not any harder on the clutch. I mean, that thing's got 30,000 miles. I'm pretty sure the clutch is original. I mean, it's not any harder. That's what the oil's there for. The only thing you can do is if you just sit there and you bang it off the rev limiter with it just barely slipping, and you'll just score all the fibers. But I mean, I've had that bike for 3 years, and I haven't rode it all that much, but the guy that had it before me had it for 3 years, and he lot rode the shit out of it and never changed clutch. I've never changed clutch. Now, it's got a poor clutch design, but it still works. I had a 08 ZX6R before that one that I put 30,000 miles on, and then I turned to a stunt bike for a year and a half. That's what I learned to clutch on in the parking lot, and shit, probably thousands of thousands. never had a problem. So it's not going to hurt it. Honda's the only thing I've ever heard that clutch basket just explodes, but well, we don't ride Hondas. So play around with it. I would try, if you're going to learn to clutch, if you're going to play with clutching today, do it sit down, because you'll be closer to the bike. You'll have more of a feel for the bike. But just take it easy at first, pull in the clutch, give it a rev and let go, and it'll probably just want to lurch at first, and eventually it'll get a little off the ground, a little more, and you just gotta feel for the bike and see how it's gonna react. And it's seat time, man. Like I said, you could buy every part you ever wanted, but it don't make you ride any better. You could paint it all pretty like that, and it don't make you ride any better.